Monday, the UN will be raising awareness once again on the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. The international organisation has already pointed out that such physical and sexual violence remains one of the most common and devastating human rights violations in today's world, with a third of all women and girls said to experience these sorts of mistreatment. Today's perspective guest is Anne-Cécile Mailfert, the president of the Fondation Des Femmes here in France. Thank you very much for coming in to talk to us here on France 24. Now, sadly, the numbers do speak for themselves. What's your personal reaction when you read some of these figures?
Yes, in France in particular, the figures are not moving. It's always the same. We know them by heart. Year after year, we always repeat the same figures. So what we want now is a real action, a real step forward, because we want these figures to move down. In France, there is 230,000 women that are every year victim of violence from their partner. We also have 80,000 women who are victim of rape or rape attempt. So in France, there is a massive number of women being victim of violence.
But these UN figures do show that a vast majority of women are abused by someone that they know, often their most intimate partner. So how do we get behind those closed doors where many women, live in fear?
Yeah, there is, for instance, for rape, it's 80%. In 80% of the rapes, the victim knew before the rape the person who raped her. So indeed, there is something very complicated to do there. But what we advise today is that with more budget, with more money, we could fund some more communication campaigns in order to raise awareness. We can also finance more associations and in order to help the women to run away from their violent partner. We also need more money for the police officers, for the hospital, to help those women to file a complaint or to be treated. So we believe that with an increase in the budget, we can have a significant impact on the violence against women.
What about men, though? What should they be doing in all of this?
Men? Well, first, those who are violent should stop. We would have less problems, don't you think?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, men should do that. But what they can do also is that they can, for those who are very aware of the very serious consequences that have violence against women, they can also educate their sons and educate the other boys that they can see. Like when you're a teacher, when you're are in a working environment, you can raise awareness to other men and boys. This is something very important. And you can also tomorrow join us, because there is a march in Paris that starts at Opera.
Which is why you're wearing this white ribbon.
Exactly. It's the symbol of the fight against violence against women. So you can join also us in the fight against violence against women and join this big march tomorrow.
Just on that note, for those watching that don't know what the French Fondation des Femmes actually is, talk us through what you do.
We are the main foundations regarding women's rights and the fight against violence against women. So what we do is that we fund organizations. For instance, in 2018, thanks to Me Too, the Me Too movement and the Weinstein case, a lot of women, for the first time, called for help. They called the national numbers. They asked for help from the association, and so they were overwhelmed by all those women wanting some help. And a lot of organizations couldn't answer to all the demands, to all those call for help. So we raised funds. Thanks to a lot of actors, we raised funds, and we could help those organizations in order to answer to all the calls. So this is one of the one typical actions that we can do is, in case of emergency, we raise funds and we give them to the organizations who need it the most.
You mentioned there the Me Too movement. That's, of course, made inroads in raising awareness since the Harvey Weinstein scandal broke. But it's something that I feel that we're hearing less and less about in the news. In your view, is this a movement that's potentially losing steam?
Yes, but I think it's kind of natural. I mean, it's normal that after so many articles and news and, you know, people are getting a bit tired about Weinstein. But I do think that the Weinstein case and the Me Too movement had a real lasting impact on the mentality here. You know, a lot of people for the first time realized what is sexual violence, realized that it's a real massive phenomenon in France, and that it can be their daughter, their sister, their colleague, their neighbor, that it's not just somebody somewhere that they don't know. It's sexual violence actually is in our life, and that we should do something very, we should, you know, fight more seriously against this violations of human rights.
Now, the French President Emmanuel Macron has called it an issue of national shame. Do you feel that he's put it high enough up the political agenda?
I think that was a very important and strong speech, and I think speeches are important when you do politics. But speeches are the first step, and you know, we are still lacking a bigger effort. Some things have been done, you know, in France. I can't say that nothing has moved. It wouldn't be fair. So yes, some things have progressed. Like there has been a law in last summer, and the budget has increased for some organizations, but we released a report yesterday on how much money should we actually give to the fight against violence against women, and actually we should put at least 6 times more budget in order to just answer all the calls that the women when women are calling for help. So it's not yet sufficient, and this is what we're demanding now, some real concrete actions that can actually make the figures go down.
Okay, Anne-Cécile Mailfert, the president of the Fondation Des Femmes here in France, thank you very much for
Thank you.
Talk to us. Thank you so much.